What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're doing another Saturday Night Live, and we're going to have a discussion around third party and how they're doing with basically staying alive. So, again, I mentioned I'm going to be doing this every Saturday night. We're going to do a discussion like this. We had one the last 2 weeks. This will be the third one. Thank you for joining me, everybody that's here. I see there's a bunch of people in the chat, so I appreciate you guys joining. No, I didn't forget. I am here. So last week I did make a mistake and schedule for Friday, but I am here now. So thank you for joining me. Yeah, so it is Saturday Night Live discussion is the title. I'm not trying to rip off Saturday Night Live, which I love that show too, by the way. So tonight we're going to talk about third-party companies and their ability to, basically survive. Right? Are they viable businesses, and are they going to be able to stick around? So we're going to look at a couple of companies. The first one that I want to talk about is this company, not DX9, Bad Cube. So this is a Bad Cube Insecticon. It's actually the only Bad Cube I own. So I don't really have anything else to show off, but this is I have all three of these Bad Cube. And Bad Cube actually was on the scene pretty early in third party. And they had a pretty good run with their Insecticons. And earlier this year, they kind of just disappeared. They went off the market. You haven't really seen Bad Cube back since then. And the way they kind of went out of business was their Nature's line. So I don't know if anybody remembers their Nature's line. Maybe I'll try to look up an image here and try to show you. But they started a new line. It was kind of a one-off thing. It was their own take on figures that they thought might be interesting. So let me share my screen here. So that's not it. I'm going to share my screen with the Nature's line, but they basically started this new line. It was kind of their own thing. And here's the first figure, and it was sort of a failure. They started it up, and they just didn't take off, unfortunately, and that really cost them. And that's kind of what's going on nowadays with any company, really, is if they start out a new line and they take a chance. Really don't know where it's going to end up. You don't know if you're going to, be successful. So we're going to talk about DX9. So DX9 also recently announced that they are going to be stepping out of the business. I think they're probably actually they're going to let the New Age. So they're also New Age. If you didn't know, DX9 and New Age are basically the same company. And they're probably going to let the DX9 line die and continue with the New Age line. So let me bring up the announcement. They basically announced that they're leaving, and it was kind of a confusing message because it wasn't very clear exactly what the issue was. Let me get some of your comments. I know I'm missing a bunch of stuff here, so let me go back. So Jason says, I own one DX9 figure that's Power Glide. This doesn't really affect me because they didn't put out anything I was interested in. They did have a nice 6-shot a few years ago. I also have that. I think I have that Power Glide. Totally forgot about that. I do have that Power Glide. This is a really, really good figure. Solid release. I also have this guy here from DX9. This is Carey, but he's been customized. He's got a lot of custom work on him. So DX9, they've been in the game for a while, at least as long as X-Transbots. And they recently announced that they haven't been paying their workers. So they haven't been paying workers for a while now. They've been in business for 6 years, and I guess maybe this Menasor didn't do as well as they thought it would. They thought it would do a little bit better than it did, and unfortunately, maybe they didn't turn enough profit, so they're gonna have to let it go. And that's unfortunate, but it's the way of the world. So that's what I want to talk about today. So I'm going to take some of your comments. What do you guys think about the third party and them being able to last and survive in this environment? I know there are a lot of, they take some chances. So like the Bad Cube Nature's line, like the DX9 Menasor, it did semi well, but I guess not well enough to keep them in business. So let's hear what you have to say. So I'm going to start with some comments. I know I'm pretty far back here. John Berkhammer says, Birkenmeyer says, I'm not a Legends guy. For me, it's Masterpiece. But if they don't start bringing out figures we need to finish our collections, I think many of us will just give up and move on. I'm of the same mind. I don't collect Legends. I think Legends are cool. I love that they're making Legends, but I personally don't collect them. They're just a little too small for me. I did recently look at a Iron Factory Legends figure, and that was pretty cool, but just too small for me. I like the Masterpiece scale. And if they're not going to make stuff like Menasor, I think maybe it's a good decision, right? Keep that Legends line separate and, get rid of the Masterpiece line if they can't make money. SNL, this is bad comedy. Yeah, sorry. I didn't call this SNL. I'm not trying to dig on them or anything like that. Trash says, I'm sorry for missing a wrap-up stream. I got my dates mixed up and forget to hit the reminder. Oh, so we did have a wrap-up, year-end wrap-up with Pig for Life and T-Man 978. That was pretty fun. But I'm going to have you at my own video for best and worst of 2020. It'll be for Masterpiece, third party, and what I looked at a lot this year, which is the retail line. So we're gonna do that separately. I did do a poll with you guys, and actually, maybe today I'll just kind of reveal what that poll said. So I did put up a poll on my YouTube page, and you guys responded to that poll. So I kind of want to tell you what those results were. So when it comes to your favorite third-party company, I did a poll on that, and I put up a bunch of different companies. There were some companies that I didn't list that people were interested in, so my fault for not having all those companies in there. But Fans Toys was up there at number one. I think it was 70%. So you know what? Let me get the results here before I lie. Yeah, so coming in at number one was Fans Toys at 62% of people said that Fans Toys is their favorite third-party company this year. And I actually kind of agree with that. Fans Toys has put out a lot of figures. They're definitely going to have some spots in my top figures for the year. Second, number two, at 17%, which is kind of weird, Transform Element. So they only put out two figures this year, the Transform Element Black Optimus Prime and their Mirage. So those are some pretty nice figures. All right, let me catch up with you guys, and let's see. Deformer says, the designers took a gamble and unfortunately lost. Yeah, and that's the problem with DX9. They took some chances, right? And unfortunately, if you take too many chances, Bad Cube or DX9 or anybody really, you could end up in a place where you can't pay off the loans that you take to produce the figures, right? You got to get the money back on the sales. And if they don't, then that's where they end up. Bruman says, the word is that was a message was from the designer, not DX9 itself. So I don't know. I mean, it's on DX9's official page. It seems like it's legit. I don't know if it's legit or not. Maybe it could be a disgruntled worker. That's a good point, Bruman. Maybe it's not really DX9, the actual company or the money man. Maybe it's the designer. But to me, it looked pretty legit. I think they are in trouble. Melcro says DX9 didn't pay their designers. I think the designers had access to DX9's social media account, gave an update that they moved on. DX9, the company itself, can contract new designers. And maybe that's true. I mean, they did talk about in that message a little bit about changing names changing their brand. So they might come out as a different company. They might come out as a different place, but let's see what happens. Brewman says, and the designer won't be working with DX9 anymore. Yeah, obviously they've moved on. Isn't DX9 Unique Toys too? Yes. So they have multiple labels. Unique Toys kind of went out earlier this year after they finished their movie figures. They did a couple of different movie figures for I think it was Dragoon and a few others, and then they were kind of out. They're sort of sounds like they're not making anything else. So it looks like DX9 and Unique Toys are both out together, unfortunately. John says they were together in the beginning and Unique Toys has fallen off. Yeah, they're really not making much. Sorry if I skip your comments. I'm just trying to get everybody to get a chance. Don Guapismo says, it was a mistake for 3 companies to make a Manosaur. DX9 has to sink a lot into 5 figures, plus a trailer and skeleton going up against XTB and Fans Toys, spells, curtains. So I kind of agree with that. That's my theory, is they had to invest a lot to make the Manosaur. And it's going to cost a lot in terms of design, in terms of, capital, right? You got to have a lot of capital to front all that money to actually have the molds and have the factory produce it. I think they went up against Fans Toys and X-Transbots, and they came up the loser of that battle. There's no really telling. They obviously don't tell us what their sales are, but I would guess that the DX9 sales were less. That's a good point. Thanks, Don. Let's see. David says they will make money on MP scale. However, collector frustration and pricing will make a difference. So we'll see. I mean, it sounds like they're done, but maybe they'll come back. Let's see. G. Tony says MMC is on the rise. And I agree with that too. I think MMC is actually making a comeback. They've made some smart decisions, business decisions about what figures they produce. You know, they do have their reformatted line, which is a niche, but they don't go too far off the beaten path. And I think that's important. They can't go too far, otherwise they're going to have a problem. See, Jason says, I will feel a whole lot better when we get some new pre-orders from Fans Toys to look at forward to. Right now, things are drying up. Don't have a lot of pre-orders for 2021. I have a ton of pre-orders right now. I think it's over 2,000 in pre-orders. It's a lot. So I've got a lot of stuff held up for me right now. It is all pretty much G1 figures. So for me, I'm still good. I've got plenty of stuff coming. But I do feel like it's slowing down. It is slowing down a little bit. I've got a lot of Earthrise and Kingdom and that kind of stuff coming too. So maybe that's why I feel like there's plenty of stuff coming out. But DX9 Omega was good. BBTS has a 179. Absolutely, DX9 Omega is awesome. There is DX9 Omega right there. I love that figure. Such a good figure. I think it's really well built. It transforms well. It's solid. It doesn't fall down. I think it's a great figure. DX9 had some good stuff. I forgot about him, by the way. Thank you for reminding me. Mo Williams. Mo Williams. I don't know if you know Mo Willems. Mo Willems is the author of kids' books, but thank you for that comment. John Gavin says TE also made T-Beast Bumbletron. Or Bumblebee, didn't they? Yeah, so I haven't been looking at any of the T-Beast stuff. Honestly, I'm not into the T-Beast. So when you see my end of the year review and the top 10, you're going to see that all that TB stuff is missing because I didn't buy any of that. So my rules are if I didn't buy it, then it's not going to be in my top 10. It's only going to be stuff that I purchased and put hands on and reviewed. So let's see. So John says, will XTB debacle kill them off? I hope not. Looking forward to the Omnibots. I don't think it will. So I think XTB is going to survive. I just think their sales on the trailer are going to be low. I don't know if any of you saw Bobby's video on the trailer. Just came out Saturday, his sit-down Saturday. I talk to Bobby fairly often, and I talked about that same topic last Saturday. And I think they made a dumb move. I think they're gonna lose some money on that trailer for sure because people will stop. They'll get the 5 figures and then stop at the trailer. So they're definitely gonna lose some money, but I don't think they're going under. I think they've got plenty of figures coming out that people are gonna buy. John says, I foresee Gigapower dropping off if they don't follow up with something more than their Dinobots. I agree. You get off the Dinobots. They've had so many Dinobot repaints and recolors. It's time for them to move on from those Dinobots. Gigapower can make something really good. Clearly, right? They've made great Dinobots. I think they can make something else. Just, larger scale stuff, but they've got to move on from the Dinobots. David says, when it comes to MP scale, there are only 2 ways to design the figures. They can go Toon, I think he meant Toon accurate or IDW accurate. So I'm not a big IDW guy. I do like the IDW. So actually this is IDW right here. Originally it was IDW. That's why he's got this gigantic wing. And then I had it painted. So the chest is painted, the face is painted. It does look a little bit more like G1, but it is IDW. So certain figures, I'm okay. I'll get an IDW, but most of the time I'm not into it. Obviously, if you make an IDW figure, you've got a niche market. Think about that. If you make a G1 figure, you have a lot bigger market. So you got to be careful how far off the beaten path you go with those IDW figures. Can you comment on the future of Make Toys? Yes, I can actually. For once, I can actually say something, intelligible. So Make Toys is alive. I have heard from the owner through a friend. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to give anybody away, but a friend of the owner told me that Make Toys is still producing. They are going to make good on their promise on the cone heads. They're going to produce the cone heads. They're going to reissue Make Toys Starscream, their version of Skywarp, and what's his name? Thundercracker, right? They're going to make all 3. They are going to make good. They just took a little break. They do have other businesses. So that's something to think about is these third-party companies, this isn't all they do. They've got other businesses on the side. They produce other things. And if the third-party market dries up or if they see they're not making money, they will move on to other stuff. So Make Toys is one of those companies that's got other businesses. And if the owner decides, hey, this isn't making me money, he will drop out and he'll move on. But they are going to Make Toys is still around. They're not gone. They just released the premium version of Jazz, and they are going to re-release the Seekers, and they're going to finish the cone heads. So they're good for now. Mike Barber says, well, I guess that means we won't be getting Unique Toys Age of Extinction Galvatron. I don't think so. I think Unique Toys is done. We did get a version of Galvatron. I thought we did. We got Dragoon, whatever version that is. Maybe that's not Age of Extinction. I don't keep up with the movies, but we did get a version of Megatron. Oh, sorry, not Galvatron. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get that Galvatron, Mike. We'll be lucky if we do. So let's see. Oh, you guys got a lot of comments here. Another thing that I wanted to talk about today, while I'm catching up on comments, is what figures do the third-party companies need to produce for us to actually stick around and buy their stuff? Obviously, there's these fringe companies that are making very unique lines, like if they're sticking with DJD or just IDW or just T-Beast, right? Those companies are at risk. The reason they're at risk is right now, Hasbro and Takara are back in the game, especially with the retail line. They're back in the game. They took a long hiatus, and now they're back. And if they can't produce something that's popular enough, then it's going to be tough for them to stick around. John says, MSC needs to release their Autobot cassettes. Been waiting over 2 years. I know they're working on that. I know from Pake for Life that they are going to release those Autobot cassettes. I'm excited about those. I'm going to get those for review for sure. So hopefully they get those out soon. If Fans Toys releases their version of Soundwave and Blaster, then forget about it. Those tapes are going to be, in the dust. But I can't wait for those MMC tapes. See, Trash says XP trailer is 167. Oh my Primus and 51%. I'm not. Oh, $51. I think he meant $51 for the pack. Still, even at that price, a little too much. I think they priced themselves out. Honestly, it's not even the price. It's really what they promised fans and what it looked like. We talked about that last week. I don't want to spend too much time this week talking about that. We did talk about the pricing and about X-Transbot's mistake with that trailer. Black Dragon says it is still possible for some of the designers of DX9 and Unique Toys to create a new company, like how some of the designers that left Toy World to their own into Zeta. Absolutely, that's absolutely straight. In fact, their comment almost very clearly said that. They said, "Hey, you might see another label pop up." I'm trying to find that comment. Let me find it. But yeah, you might see. That's what they do, right? They come up with a new label. Maybe like a Zeta, another company, a different direction. Maybe they might go a different direction. We'll see what happens. But right now, at least the DX9 label sounds like it's dead. JT says, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, JT. Thank you for that message. Appreciate that. This will be my last live for the year. After this, we're probably not going to go live. Next Saturday, I'll be busy, but let's see. Milkrow says, DX9 is releasing their old molds. If they were defunct, we wouldn't get any product at all. So they are, but I think it's a last-ditch effort, right? They're just reissuing, repainting, and then once they're done, I don't think they're going to make any. And they did say in their post, God, I got to find the post. They did say they were going to make good on all the figures they said they would issue. They said that right in the post. Let me find that thing. All right, I think I've got it here. So let me share my screen. So here's the post. Here's one version of translation. This is the I believe it's Chinese, and then they had this image with Jerry waving by. But here's the actual wording. It says, "I haven't logged in for a long time. Come here to tell everyone that our team has actually left for a long time, has not received our labor income," meaning they didn't get paid, including various reprints. Those are the reissues or the remolds. It's not that it doesn't handle, but it's incapable of processing. So I read another translation of this same message, and actually I think I have it here. Let's see. Oh, here's another translation. So let's look at this. My buddy Lucas, thank you for sending me this translation. See if I can get this up on the screen. Oh, that's a mess. All right, I guess I can't get up on the screen, but it says, "I haven't logged in for a long time, logging in to bid farewell. Never received reimbursement for our labor. Private message and DM have been cleared. It's not that we don't want to handle them, it's that we don't have the ability to. Something 2014 is now 6 years has passed." So they've been in business for 6 years. "Thanks for the support." So this message translated is a little bit different than the one we've been getting. It means a little bit different than this translation. It kind of tells us that they're basically not making money, right? So they're going to finish off what they've promised, and then they're going to stop. They're not going to produce any new figures. So hopefully that clears things up for you guys. Let's see. John says, any Masterpiece Target Master by Fans Toys will definitely be a definite winner. Absolutely. I can't wait if Fans Toys make their Target Masters. They are making Headmasters. They have the Chomp figure coming out. That's going to be interesting. John says, I saw Skullface's vid. It was good. I went in. I definitely watched that too as well. I'm a big fan of Skullface. If you didn't know already, I'm a fan of his. I'm also, I talk to him somewhat regularly. I think he had a pretty good objective view on the X-Transbots trailer. John says, I'm hoping Make Toys stick around. I hope they stick around too. I like Make Toys. Deformer says, if 3P companies want to survive, they need to stick to G1 characters. Several characters can use up an update. Rodimus Prime, absolutely. I need a new Rodimus Prime for sure. Wind Charger, Gears, Tracks, can all go for a more to an accurate update. Deformers, thanks for that comment. I definitely agree with you. There's all those figures can use update. I would definitely buy it. I think you have to balance what you take a risk on and what you know is going to sell. So third-party companies kind of have to weigh that and decide, hey, what I'm going to take a chance on. You can't go too far, right? Because all that capital is going to be tied up trying to build those figures. Good comment, thank you. Jason says, highbrow and brainstorm is what Make Toys need to work on. They promised that a long time ago, and they haven't produced it yet. So I'm curious to see those headmasters. I'd like to see them. Let's see. Trash says, Make Toys trying to squeeze out the last out of their Seekers before Takara version 2 when they should be making different characters. Definitely they're trying to do that. We know that for a fact. They've got to get all the value they can out of the Make Toys mold. I'll be getting both. So I'm going to show you the Make Toys premium version, which is coming out next year, early next year. I'll also be getting the Takara Tomy masterpiece, and I'll compare the two. I'll do my verses just like I always do, and you guys can make a decision on which one you want to buy. But they're obviously making as much as they can off that mold before Takara makes their version 3. Let's see. Black Dragon says, glad Make Toys is still around. I didn't know they were working on other things besides Transformers. That's interesting. Yeah. So it's not, so their label isn't Make Toys everywhere, right? They have a factory and they produce things. They produce other products. They're not Transformers. They're other things. All of these companies, that's what they do. They produce other stuff. If this line, this Transformers stuff, the third-party stuff goes away, they need to make money somehow, right? So they've got to have some other business on the side. And I know Make Toys is into other stuff, so they'll probably, if this dies, they'll go to that. Rio, I don't know how to say your name, says, it's nice to see XTB put out the pre-order for Metallic Elagos. So I did have Elagos. I liked him a lot. Unfortunately, I replaced him with the Fans Toys version of Quietus, their version of their Quietus figure. But it's cool to see that they're still producing stuff. Repaints are a big question right now. How many repaints can you make and still make money? Obviously, they don't have to invest any more in the design because the design's already done. All they have to do is reprint it. So that's another risky gamble business that these third parties are into, right? How many times can they reprint and use the same mold before they don't sell? And that's a question they have to ask themselves. Right now, X-Transbots is still producing a whole bunch of reprints or repaints, and they're making money, but we'll see how many they do. Trash says, Unique Toys Galvatron was finished and should be in production, but who knows if they'll release it. I haven't seen, I saw the finished product, but I haven't seen them actually announce it, so we'll see what happens. Black Dragon, the XTB metallic Elagos look beautiful and slightly cheaper than the original. I don't think it's cheaper than the original, but it is on par with it, and it does look pretty nice. I like the paint job. 10K says, do you think we'll see third-party upgrade kits for chug scale figures? You kind of answered your own question. There's definitely a ton of third-party, or maybe you call it fourth-party, but third-party upgrades. They're all over the place, right? You already got upgrades for Optimus. You've got upgrades for the Earthrise Ironhide to fix his back so the feet don't look so weird. There's all sorts of third-party upgrades for chug scale figures in the retail line. So I think that's already happened. That's a direction they're going to make money. Hey, Winston, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Dave Turcos says, here's a good question. Should I wait another 2 years for FanStoys Mentor or just go for the X Transbots route? Definitely don't wait. If you're waiting to pick up FanStoys, you are going to be disappointed because they will be sold out and you will pay probably 50 to 100% more on the price. So if you want FanStoys, you kind of had to make a decision now because the FanStoys figures always increase in value and you're going to end up paying a lot more. So you kind of had to make that decision now. X Transbots, I'm not sure. They might still be around to be able to buy, but FanStoys, definitely not. If you want them, buy now. Don't wait. I definitely recommend buying them now. John says, FanStoys had 3 winners so far. I don't think you'd be disappointed. Yeah, I don't think you'd be disappointed either. I love the FanStoys. So let's just grab, here's the FanStoys Menace Sword. This thing is incredible. Highly recommend. It was my figure of the year for 2019. So just the transformation alone and really because he becomes a trailer, this thing is amazing. Highly recommend this if you're trying to decide between FanStoys and X Transbots and you want an individual Watermaster, this is the one. That's the one to go with. Let's see. Ribimus Prime says, if 3P were to end soon and only can make 2 to 3 more G1 characters, which one should be made? I'll tell you my opinion. I mean, I know there's people probably in the comments who are answering that question. For me, it would be, I would want a third-party Bumblebee, and I would want a third-party Rodimus Prime, because we haven't gotten one. This is not a proper Rodimus Prime. I want a real proper Rodimus Prime. I would like a third-party Masterpiece Runamuck and Runabout. I know we just got the retail line, but I want like an official MP. Let's see. I'd want a MP Twin Twist and what's his name? Twin Twist and Top Spin. The Wreckers. I definitely want those. So I have a lot of G1 characters. I mean, I could go on and on, but there's tons of G1 characters we haven't gotten from third party that I'm definitely down for. Axbox, is DX9 gone for real? I believe so. They're based on their message. I just showed the message earlier. We're at about 35 minutes here, so I'm going to probably wrap up in another 5 minutes. So if you guys have questions or comments you want to get in, now's the time. Otherwise, I'm probably going to wrap up for today. We won't be doing another live next week because it's Christmas week, and I want you guys to enjoy your holiday. I'm going to enjoy my holiday too. But we'll be back the week after, which is New Year's week, and we're going to do another topic just like this. And in between now and then, we'll also do my top 5 best figures and worst figures for the year. Let's see. Bruman says, 3P needs to not cannibalize each other. FanStoys is super cutthroat and has shrunk a lot of the field. 3P that can find their own niche lane works really well too, like some doing MP Beast Wars now. I agree with that. These companies really need to find their niche. What is their spot in the market? If they go up against FanStoys, I think they definitely are risking losing their business. I don't think it's a smart decision to compete directly with FanStoys to produce the same exact figure. They could probably produce in the same market. Like, for example, they could both be doing G1. But I don't think it's a smart decision to do the same exact figure. Good comment. Thanks, Bruman. Micro says, I enjoyed the insight and discussion on 3P economics. What are their metrics to deem a successful run? What's the percentage of sales breakdown by countries, etc.? So Bobby talked about this a little bit. I know a little bit just based on my discussions with some retailers. My channel partner is Toy Dojo. I talked to Eddie. Eddie is the owner of Toy Dojo. I talk to him often. I believe a production run, this is totally this is speculation on my part, but about 5,000 units is a general third-party run. A retail run like Hasbro or Takara is in the 20,000 to 30,000 to 50,000. The Earthrise line, for example, is in the 50,000 range because it's worldwide and there's way more market right there in actual stores. They're in storefronts. so they can sell a lot more. So 5,000 is kind of like the number, the magic number. If you can sell through on 5,000 units, you did pretty good. If you can sell through like 90% of that, and then you got some stock left, the retailers have to buy it. So unfortunately, as soon as they buy the stock, they're stuck with it. they have to sell it somehow. So they do have to discount off that price eventually if they can't sell through. So my guess is if these companies sell to the US retailers and they don't do good, they don't do well, the next time they produce, they're going to have a really hard time convincing that retailer to buy their stuff, right? Because they had a hard time last time selling through. So that's kind of how that market works. That's kind of how this third-party stuff works. You're built off a reputation, and if you don't have a good reputation and you don't do well on your sales, then that hurts your next sale. That's kind of how it all works out. Big Tasty says, I bought the Transformation Menasor limited edition. I never looked at that. I did want to kind of see how those were. Fortunately, I never looked at that. Big Tasty, let me know how they are. Let me know what you think of those. Frankie Lawless says, I got Carrie, Gabriel, 2 great figures. Yeah, I think they're really good figures. I do like DX9. I lied earlier. I have 3 DX9 figures. They're all really good. They're the best versions, at least for now. They're the best versions of those characters. So we'll see what happens. Let's see, Ryo says, do you have any word if Make Toys Acid Storm will be sold by TCP, BBTS, or Toy Dojo? It is already up on TF Source. I don't know if it's an exclusive or not. I would be guessing. My thought is that it will be sold on the other sites, but I don't know the answer to that. Sorry, Ryo. If Make Toys wants to make money, they should list it at the other retailers. Is my recommendation, but I don't know the answer. Dexter says, my first DX9 was with Mitron. Mitron, I never got a hold of Mitron. I got the X-Transbots Apollyon, which was really cool, and then he got replaced by this guy, MP36 Megatron. All right, I'm going to take a couple more questions, then we're going to call it for today. John says, right now, MT Acid Storm is only through TF Source. Yeah, I think right now it is. It's only through TF Source. I don't think it's an exclusive, but I think they're the only one listing it. So we'll see what happens with that figure, but it would be smart of Make Toys to list it on the other retailer sites. Big Tasty said, I hope X-Transbots Virtus stays at its current price. I paid for Virtus almost 2 years ago at this point. I bought it from Baba Bobo, who was my partner at the time. I haven't been buying a lot of stuff from Baba Bobo recently just because of the shipping problems, but I'm guessing he's going to have to charge me a buttload of money to ship that thing, probably $50 or more, because the price on that thing has got to have changed since the time they put up the pre-order. That's going to suck because that's just going to further make me not want to buy from Baba Bobo anymore. But unfortunately, I had that pre-order in, and I'm going to have to pay the difference, whatever the difference is. Jason says, I believe MT's Acid Storm is exclusive for TF Source, unfortunately. Oh, that sucks. So I don't know if that's a fact or not, but if it is, then yeah, you got to go to TF Source. You got to pay whatever price they're charging, unfortunately. Let me get a drink and I'll continue on. Wow. Let's see. This is an adult beverage. Yes. Don asks. So this is, have you ever heard of a bourbon smash? It's kind of like a, they have a bourbon mule. It's sort of like a bourbon mule, but it's called a bourbon smash. Fans Toys is doing a cliff jumper, John says. Yeah, they are. They have not teased any actual prototypes, but I'd be excited to see that. I would definitely buy that. Right now, my cliff jumper, let's see, I'll grab him. This is my cliff jumper right here. This is the X-Transbots Toro. I really do like him, but I would gladly take a Fans Toys if they make one. This is nice, though. If you're looking for a good cliff jumper, I recommend him. Let's see. I hope DX9 releases the rest of the G2 Menasor. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to finish the G2 set. So I went to TFCon DC back in 2019. They had the entire G2 Menasor on display. It was a prototype. It was not a finished product. So we know that they have it. They've got all 5 bots in the G2 coloration. But will they produce it is the question. I'm not sure. It depends on if they think they can sell it. Oh, you're talking about DX9. I'm sorry. I don't think they show. Sorry, I was talking about X-Transbots. They did show X-Transbots showed their G2, so I'm pretty sure X-Transbots is going to make that G2 Menasor. Let's see. Schaefer says, "Do you think the sale on Gabriel was a sort of send-off?" Well, that sale, I bought my Gabriel. It's been over a year. That Gabriel's like a year old. So that $180 sale is old. It's been that sale for a long time. So I don't think it was a send-off. I just think they couldn't sell through. So they decided to lower the price and just, make some money if they could. I'll take 2 more comments and then I'm going to call it for today. Big Tasty says, how much longer do we have to wait for XTB Springer? I've seen a pre-order for next fall. Next fall. I don't know. My pre-order is 2 years old. Like I said, I would imagine X-Transbots is going to start producing a lot more next year once the pandemic starts to resolve, the factories open up, the workers start to return to work. Right now, they're just doing reprints because that's the easiest thing they can do. But I'm pretty sure next year we'll see Springer pretty early so they can start producing new figures and make some money. Let's see. How much was the original retail Fans Toys Jetfire? So I bought my Fans Toys Jetfire. Let's see. He's up there. But my Fans Toys Jetfire was $220 retail. If you bought the X version, FT10X, that was $250 retail. That's the prices I remember in my head. Since then, it's gone crazy, and the prices are all over the place. But that's what I paid, $220 and $250. Trashes, I hope FT will get all, if not most, of their announced figures out next year and reissue Spotter and the Bugs and do a 2.0, make them better. A few other figures too. Trash, I am with you. I can't wait for Spotter. I got rid of my Spotter, unfortunately, and I regret it. Or not Spotter, their Perceptor. I got rid of my Perceptor. I don't have the Bugs. I can't wait. If they make the Bugs 2.0, I'll definitely buy them. But we'll see. We'll see. At Fans Toys is definitely doing well. They're in business. I don't think they're going anywhere. All right, 1 or 2 more comments. Let's see. Jay says, I feel so much better about Fans Toys when TCP sends a notification email saying he'll be in stock in 3 days. Yeah, that's my recommendation to you guys. If you're looking for Fans Toys, do not place pre-orders with these Chinese retailers that don't have legitimate pre-order solicitations from Fan Toys. The way it works is the manufacturer sends a solicitation to the American retailers. They'll say, here's how much it's going to cost per unit and the rough shipping weight, so they can decide how many units they're going to buy and how much it's going to weigh for the pallet or for the whatever they're going to buy. And then that's when you see pre-orders go up, is once they get that solicitation. If you're placing a pre-order before that solicitation, you're taking a chance that either that pre-order never comes to fruition, or the price changes significantly, and then you have to come back and pay the retailer more, which has happened. Or they cancel your pre-order, which has happened too. So I highly recommend don't place pre-orders with illegitimate Chinese retailers or any of those other ones that put pre-orders out way before they even exist. John says Jetfire original order price was $259. I don't think I ever paid $259 for Jetfire. I think I paid $230 or $220, something like that. All right, one last comment, and then we're going to call it. Let's see. Ribbonus Prime says, do you think FanSource can continue if there isn't other 3P companies feeding the fan base? A lot of people getting cheaper with 3P items first. That's a loaded question, but I am biased for sure. I'm biased on this question, so I'll just say that up front. I really like FanStoys. FanStoys produces a great product. I don't think they need the competition. If all the competition went away, they would be happy to produce without competition. The problem with that is they need the competition. Competition produces competitive pricing. Competition produces innovation. Competition produces, the next level of product. So you need that competition. So I don't think FanStoys would care. I think they'd keep going. I just think it's bad for us as consumers. You need that competition. John says, interesting question. Should third party get a factory here in the U.S. to cater to the American market? Right now, that's just an impossibility. The U.S. manufacturing is way more expensive than Chinese or Singapore or any of the other places they go. And that's the reason why they're in China, right? Our manufacturing plants are so much more expensive. Labor is more expensive. Our shipping is expensive. Everything having to do with owning a business and owning a factory is more. So that'll probably never happen unless American manufacturing comes back to its peak or its height where it was, maybe 20 years ago. I don't see that happening. I think they'll stick to China or they'll stick to Taiwan or Singapore or any of those companies where labor is cheap. Last question. G. Tony, why nobody talk about Fans Project? Fans Project is weird. So I don't know. They produce a product here and there. They talked about being dead. Then they come back. And then they disappear. And then they do a reissue. I don't know what's up with Fans Project. I've only owned one Fans Project product my whole collecting career, and I'm not sure. I don't know what's up with Fans Project. I don't think they're going to continue. I just think they've made too many niche characters, and pretty much all they can do is reprint, like reissue figures they've done. But I don't know. All right, that's really it for today. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I really appreciate these conversations. It's a lot of fun for me. Hopefully, you guys are having fun. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays. I enjoyed this whole year. We're about to hit 5,000 subscribers, which is awesome. Thank you guys for subscribing and commenting and watching and joining these live streams. That's what keeps me going. If you guys didn't do this, there's no point in me doing this. I would not do this just because, I like the toys. I do it because of the community. So I definitely appreciate you guys joining me. The next few videos I'll have, so I'll just give it away right now. I'm going to have a couple more Netflix Transformers figures coming up. I have pretty soon, I don't know if it's going to be here in time, but I do have a couple of reissues that are coming. I don't know if they're going to make it before 2021, but we'll see. So stay tuned for those figures. We're also doing our top 5 best and worst figures for 2020. That will be coming in the next week or two. So stay tuned for all those videos. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.